Welcome, everybody, to a special well-read review. Today, I'm going to be joined with two new guests talking about Absolute Batman Annual Issue 1. Please welcome Berg and Matthew Fowler. Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hello. How's it going?
How's it going?
Yo. All right, guys. We've all read this. We've dived in. We've sullied ourselves. We're filthy. Let's talk about the book.
Yeah.
Art. What did you guys think? You dig the art? Pretty cool, vibing on it so far.
Yeah, except I guess we can get right into Fowler. I know if you got something, but real quick, this kind of skips ahead, but there's like the white supremacists in this first book by Daniel Warren Johnson. He draws them and they look really stupid. And I feel like I've seen stories where white supremacists are the bad guys and you can make them look badass. Because if you give them the respect of like being a good writer and like thinking of them as an actual person, they would want to look good. And like traditionally, white supremacists look good, like Hugo Boss, Nazi uniforms, and then even in the 80s, like skinheads and stuff. They always have style. And the latest style, I saw it debut in another movie where white supremacists are the bad guys, and it was the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie. What's it called? One Battle After the Other. But in that one, the white supremacists, they have like long braided beards. They look like Vikings, and they have all this decked out gear and guns and vests and tactical, and they look super awesome. And yeah, they get like destroyed, and that's like the way the story goes. It's fine if you want to tell that story, but make them look good. And yeah, this guy is the main guy is like, he's in a little blue t-shirt. It's actually the FBI look that it's like the FBI version. Undercover FBI version of white supremacists is what Daniel Warren Johnson pictures white supremacists looking like. So they're in blue t-shirts and jeans, and like, I'm like, oh, I wish they would at least look cool or something. But
I mean, that's the thing that I took issue with just, going through it up front is it felt contrived. Like, where do they have these white supremacists like this? These are podunk, like inbred hicks, right?
Yeah, they're very hills have eyes, like vibe, villagers and shit looking, instead of like, they don't look like modern people at all.
No.
Yeah.
And then they're attacking like a tent city of migrants, basically.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The scenario just, when does that ever happen anywhere? So just kind of.
I know. I was thinking like for pros and cons, trying to throw a bone is like, one negative for both stories is that Batman is like invincible in both of them, which is that's like a thing you can do too, but I don't prefer that. I like Batman to like barely win, but he just destroys everyone easily in both of these stories. But in this one,
that's an absolute Batman thing though. Like he's kind of almost the Hulk in those stories.
Yeah. And he has his Batmobile in this one, and it's like, obviously it's OP. It's actually kind of funny. Oh yeah, so
this is the
like
origin.
He does get beat up in the beginning, but that was contrived too. What were you saying, Matt?
This is the story of him getting the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Like this is the origin of the first time he gets that earth mover, that is that Caterpillar tractor that becomes the Batmobile.
The Bat.
Oh, okay.
So like he doesn't go home and grab the Batmobile. Like he steals the construction site thing from that closed company or whatever that left all the people jobless, and that becomes the Batmobile.
Oh, good. Your comic literacy is better than mine. I'm glad you explained that. Oh, I just saw the art and I was like, oh, the Batmobile, whatever. But yeah, but so in this though, it like has like a story. Like it's Batman kind of like killing and then really regretting it and crying to himself at the end.
So like, do you read Absolute at all? Or are you like up to speed on like Absolute Batman at all?
I've read the first 7 issues.
Really, no.
All right, let me kind of TLDR Absolute Batman for you. So it's an entire reboot, right? And instead of being a billionaire, Bruce is like a working class, like construction worker, engineer or whatever at best. The incident that of his parents' death didn't happen the same way. His mother's still alive, and his father wasn't a doctor. His father was a teacher, and got killed at like some kind of school shooting type event at like a zoo, right? And he was protecting the other kids with Bruce, and like had hid them in the bat exhibit while he got shot or whatever, right? So it's a little bit different. Absolute Batman is not like Bruce, the regular one, at all. He kills regularly. I don't know if you've seen the images of him splitting heads with his axe, and you know, like that scene where he kills Black Mask. He just stabs his bat horns like through his head and stuff. Like Absolute Batman's different. You know, he kicks baby villains and, you know, all kinds of stuff. He's far more violent. Nothing like the regular Batman. And he's not like this infinite wealth billionaire. So his point of view and actions are quite different than regular Batman, you know? So when you see him killing and doing all that stuff, it's pretty standard for Absolute Batman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But even in
actually,
this story
does something weird that I don't know if you know, like got it like at the end where he's looking at the blood on his hands and remembering his father, when the story's tied together and you realize his father was in the protest with the priest, right? And you know, the priest that's like trying to save the people Batman flamethrowered or whatever, right?
Yeah, the Third Reich that he just
right, but
incinerated.
if you follow the story, the priest is still trying to help them. Like, why did you do that? You know, like his action was too much, right? And as he's remembering his dad, like he looks at the blood on his hands, remembers his dad, and then like you can tell he realizes his father wouldn't be proud of this path he's taken, right? Because like the last panel is him curled up in a ball, like in front of the new Batmobile, right? It's like that curling up is not him being proud or celebrating what he just did. You know, it's him realizing like his father would be very ashamed of what he was doing and what he'd become, you know, in the name of vengeance and stuff. So it was kind of a weird moment to see Absolute Batman like have any feeling about killing or the stuff he did, because he's kind of like just a psycho, you know, like the only times he gets mad or reacts to anything in the Absolute series are like when his friends are hurt or his family is threatened, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing he does is like, he's just psycho for the sake of all his close people, not like he doesn't mourn random people, right? In this one, he's kind of all curled up in a ball at the end. So it was really just a weird take on the character, you know, from the way it went down.
His motivation is pretty much solely the fact that he just hates racists, I guess.
Right, but at the end of the day, he still would be disappointing his father, you know, because this path he's chosen of killing is not the path his father chose, who was like locked arm in arm with the priest in the old photo, right? His father would have taken the same path as the priest, who was like healing those people anyway, you know? Like,
yeah. So that's what I was kind of saying. That is kind of a good thing. Like that story is an okay story as far as like having that it actually tells a story. The kind of things that I didn't like were the aesthetics of the white supremacists. Some of it did feel a little like contrived or a little bit liberal fantasy kind of thing. The beginning, the first page, can we look at that really fast? Well read.
Yeah.
The first page is funny because it does have a few like classic like liberal tropes. One of them is the precocious kid like parroting to their parent some crazy political stuff, and people are like, they did not say that. But and then the other thing is putting teachers on a pedestal is kind of a liberal thing. People really like teachers, whereas
his father's not a doctor anymore, he's a teacher now.
And I feel like there are ways where not that it story could be anything the writer kind of wants to try and create, but it feels like loving if you tell a story like in 2025 and like journalists are super honorable and teachers are super honorable, that just doesn't feel real to me. That doesn't
Well,
feel
like a
the real.
teacher's poor. I mean, bro, let's face it, they're culturally coded in pop culture as poor, right? Whereas a
Yeah.
doctor is pop culture coded as rich, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to flip the whole vibe. They don't want Bruce
Oh yeah,
coming
rich
from money
like
in any
being a
kind of way
doctor
anymore.
isn't like in vogue anymore. Yeah.
Well, it's not the direction they're taking the absolute line, you know, like they're really trying to get away from. I mean, because let's face it, rich Batman is just some crazy dude in fetish gear beating up poor people, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't work right? It's like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? Like Batman has more money than Carmine Falcone by like at least 100 times, right? So
Mhm.
why couldn't he bribe all the judges and hire all the thugs and pay them more than Falcone and therefore put an end to crime, right? Like being a bazillionaire doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So they had to kind of try a different direction, you know, and it's like it's weird and from a different perspective, but I mean, I don't know if it's like cultural programming or whatever, if they're just trying to flip, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like the Squirrel Girl days, man. It doesn't feel like
Yeah,
Iceman.
or if
You
it
know what
is,
I'm
they're just doing
saying?
it a little better. They're doing it good still or whatever.
They're doing like, I don't know. I mean, I get it that they're fighting Nazis and stuff, but it's like, how's it start? Bruce is buying weapons, right? So who sells weapons? Like people who are in Aryan Nation gangs who aren't in jail anymore, right? Kind of like frequent in weapons trafficking in pop culture and meth trade in pop culture, right? Like that's traditionally what neo-Nazis do, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing I didn't understand is why they were mad at the immigrants or why the cops were working with them and wearing all these fascist pig masks. All that stuff seemed to get lost in like Warren Johnson's own politics and head
Yeah,
stuff,
you're right.
you
That
know?
was like some of the liberal fantasy because it was almost like two parts. It was Daniel Warren Johnson performing an exorcism on his own like psyche to deal with the election. I've heard that
Well,
was
yeah, he said
almost
that in an interview. Yeah, that like he was really affected by the night Trump was elected and working through all that and stuff. So I mean, yeah, dude, it's almost cringy the way it's so blatant and in there.
yeah. And it is fun to see like even as a piece of art, it's fun to see just a crazy fantasy like that. And you're like, oh, this is your fantasy. But also you're like, you should be a little embarrassed that this is your fantasy. But and then you actually made it a good story, a real story in the end, not necessarily a good story, but it was a real story in the end, which is fine.
And
But
it's
I,
like he's kind of like an action artist, right? So if you're buying this annual for the gimmick of Daniel Warren Johnson as the popular artist, right? He's the artist on Transformers. He had the do a power bomb that everybody really liked with the wrestling moves and stuff, and that Murder Falcon, you know, that was always smashing the guitar and you know fighting those big epic like city sized battles and stuff. You get a lot of that with this. You know, he drives the big earth mover. That's your Optimus Prime shot. You know, he body slams that police officer, uh, which he clearly kills him. But I guess they're trying to say none of them were killed. But that's your power bomb move, you know, and him splitting heads with the axe is the Murder Falcon stuff. So you get all the Warren Johnson isms in there. You know, it's if you like his stuff, this is on par with you know what he does.
Yeah,
yeah,
I felt like that image that he tweeted out with the ICE agent getting choked out was him kind of giving a dog whistle that that's going to be part of this story, but there's no ICE agents in it; they're cops. But he wanted to suggest, you know, wink, wink. This is in reference to. That's why we've got law enforcement
yeah.
here.
It's
You know,
it's another, yeah. It's kind of with the A cab thing or whatever. Yeah, it does feel like that's coupled. The ice drawing goes hand in hand with this.
The
And
cops
that was
showing up.
also like kind of cringy a little bit, but
Yeah. I felt like it was liberal cope, honestly. Like, they have to have this contrived fantasy scenario of these hick white supremacists that are, dumb as dirt. They're insulting him because they think, oh, he's a city boy with savior complex. And usually the in vogue thing would be to like totally dehumanize them before.
Well, like
And
you're
just
a city boy thing is the cringe. Like that's the trope that's so over. You know what I'm saying?
well,
When I said
it's a
like it
bit
felt cringy.
it's a bit of a
Yeah.
cuckening, right? Like he has to acknowledge that you can't just treat these people that you've painted as two-dimensional as being two-dimensional and irrelevant any longer. You can't just massacre them and forget about them like they're just villains in a Sunday matinee movie or something. Now all of a sudden you've got to like try to understand this caricature that you of this population group, this voter group that you've demonized, and suddenly you have to recognize there might be some humanity behind this facade of like labels that you've created about them. And so that's why Batman has to have this like come to Jesus moment with the priest of like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
man, I'm actually slaughtering people that I've prejudged as being non-human because they're racist bigots, yada yada, and all and MAGA
And he doesn't let that be known in front of the priest. That's like later in solitude. He cries that out at the last panel.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing that like he must be going through because of the election of like, no, I've got to actually try to make amends and be able to
he's a
talk
Chicago
to,
guy. Like Daniel Warren Johnson's a Chicago-based artist, so that ICE stuff is all in his timeline right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why like for him, them running around and just beating up random migrants in an encampment somewhere in the middle of the desert probably seems realistic and feasible. So I guess he didn't find it
Right,
too
but that's
fantastical.
based off his echo chamber. You understand?
Yes.
Like this is entirely based off fears that were stirred by dopamine hit social media engagement.
Yes.
It would be better. It would be better if that was like ripped from the headlines. If there was an actual example of something like that happening,
yeah,
that would be a better story.
Something a little more human.
Ripped from the headlines, it's like ripped from my doom scrolling.
Yeah. Ripped from my imagination of paranoia from being too much in a bubble.
It's not even an imagination. It's just a narrative that's presented, like our timelines will fill up with that girl getting stabbed on the train, right? Or like Charlie Kirk's neck exploding and like stuff, right? Like their timelines will get spammed with ICE agents arresting children and shit. Like, you got to understand there's a dual manipulation like happening.
That's why like the absolute Batman, having remorse for his actions was so out of character, because he's not really telling a story about absolute Batman. He's telling a story about himself and how he's dealing, with his Twitter feed. And I'd rather that, because absolute Batman, your description, Fowler, is fairly accurate. For me, I kind of, when I was reading the character, he's a bit like Jim Bro Batman, and it doesn't make a lot of sense why he goes around beating people's asses. He just, does it because like the bat symbol is supposed to be a bridge.
I mean, he's literally a boxing trainer. He trains Killer Croc how to fight. He is a gym bro. Like that's accurate.
But then like the motivation they try to give him a little bit about the school shooting, but then also he's like a hero for the working class, and like it's a smattering of motivations, and they aren't as consolidated and poignant as the original millionaire fascist Batman's motivation. So that's why like it's hard for me to pinpoint what absolute Batman is driving towards.
He's far more human than Batman, though. Like he's flawed in a way Bruce Wayne is not. You know what I'm saying? Like you always hear about like prep day Batman will destroy anything or whatever. Like Batman's just OP basically, right? Like whereas absolute is a little bit flawed.
He's flawed because he's confused. As far
as he's a dumb jock a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's true. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he is, but he's jacked. It's like it's a different beast than regular Batman.
He's supposed to be blue collar, Viking guy is kind of the thing. Like actually Chuck Dixon was saying it's ironic that after he came up with a blue collar vigilante, which was the Horseman, 8 months later you've got Absolute Batman, who's blue collar vigilante. So yeah, that's how that went. But yeah, so what did you guys think of the Daniel Warren Johnson story?
Well, I especially compare it to the second one, and then I guess I didn't like it that much. I guess I don't know. What did you think, Fowler? I like the second one, so when we talk about that, I'll talk about that.
So, as the origin story for the Batmobile, which is what it is, right? We got Gotham, which Gotham will probably be Chicago, right? And then outside of Gotham is like the Midwestern towns where this racism and white supremacy is occurring in middle America, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Caterpillar is located. And Caterpillar makes those earth movers. It's a branded cat earth mover. You can see it, in the thing. Caterpillar. So it firmly places Gotham as Chicago. And the new Batmobile made by Caterpillar Tractors. So I don't know, like a 6 out of 10. It's my least favorite Absolute Batman thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to compare it to like those Dragon Ball Z movies that like have no effect on the actual timeline of the Dragon Ball Z series. If that makes any sense. It's like,
I don't think I've seen those, but yeah.
It's like a filler bonus story about the Batmobile. Yeah.
Right. But like it doesn't really fit in anywhere in the real timeline if you try to put it in with the regular issues, because like if he's remorseful about killing, it's like he's not anymore, like, or never dealt with that. Like that, this added something that's not really there in the books yet.
Oh, yeah.
So it's jarring and makes me think it's not really in continuity or whatever, So it's got that Dragon Ball Z OVA movie feel, like filler's harsh, but I mean, I guess filler it is accurate.
What's your final thought, Per?
Yeah, like I don't know. There you can, like Donald DeLay loves Daniel Warren Johnson art. I can hear Donald DeLay in my ear on some of these panels where it's like, yeah, great cartooning, and that's fun to see in a comic. But yeah, especially just it does suffer from being compared to the second story, which is quite a bit better in my opinion, I guess. But they're funny. There are ways that they're similar. We can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
we can jump into that.
Well, just quickly, I'll give my final thought. Like it had all this proper structure of a good story. Having the priest there, and then the priest is empathetic to the locals, and that's the reason why he wants to advocate for them a little bit, and getting Absolute Batman to kind of have a change of heart, over his actions. All of those things would work in a standard story dynamic. It just felt out of place for Absolute Batman. So, I mean, overall, I think I agree with Fowler. Like 6 out of 10. It's decent, but it doesn't feel relevant to the character or to reality. So, in some ways,
yeah.
Second story, I think I liked a little bit more, but it didn't focus on Absolute Batman very much. It was mostly about, this kid who's breaking into his rich parents' house to steal while he thinks that they're away. And he's got all his like little goon friends with him. And then Absolute Batman shows up and beats everybody's butt. And then the kid has to reconcile with his dad.
I really dig the art on the second story. It looks like Maxi Dallo. Remember that guy from around here? He drew like Cowboy Jack Irons.
That's the first James Herron art that I've read, because I've seen him around, and he has the one series that's cool, like Ultraman-esque, but I haven't read that. But,
this is the Ultra Mega artist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. This is pretty cool shit, man. It
Yeah,
looks like
so the art is
Magnolia or
sweet.
something, but very cool stuff.
But yeah, so this one is funny. It's like way more a short story to the point of almost not a story, the way the first one was like a story. This one is like a scene with some really cool lines, some cool dialogue, some weird stuff happening, some unexplained, like, yeah, bonkers. A little more like the way the way an animated short can just be bonkers, and that's the entertainment is like, we're gonna do some shit that like now they're doing this, now they're doing this, and now he says that, now he says that. And I'm like, what do they say? Like one of the bad guys, when the dad kind of gets into the fight, he kind of is into the energy, and he has guns in his house, so he's like arming people. And one of the bad guys is like, "Damn son, you're one of us," and he says that to the guy that they were just robbing or whatever. And I'm like, that's sweet. That's like hilarious. It reminded me of like, oh, this is what like fun Batman is versus the weird fantasy the first one was.
He says, I am the sex organs of machine angels.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
the dialogue in some of this. Yeah.
yeah.
It had some pop.
It's kind of bonkers in like that's in like a cartoonist way too. Like it feels like I don't that maybe you could put it that way. Is it's like artsy fartsy in a way. It's like if R. Crumb did a Batman comic. You know?
It's like a liquid television short.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. Yeah.
Back in the day when MTV would animate all kinds of little expensive shorts, I could see this as
Yeah, and you know something with that is like it's not from the like school of good writers or whatever where you need the beginning, middle, and the end, and people need to learn a lesson and blah blah blah. It's like James Herron being like, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to have a cool fight, some awesome dialogue, some funny, weird character dynamics with the father and son, and there's like a little bit of like a a little emotional wrap up right at the end where the father kind of forgives the son because the son tried to rob him or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Batman for the most part is a symbol in this, other than like the end fight, but it's something fearful that kind of like the original Batman, he strikes fear into the hearts of criminals and causes them to act erratically and show their vulnerabilities in that chaos. But yeah, that little fight scene at the end where he's battling against the gang leader, who's like this mutated crazy guy. I thought that was pretty intense. The art is actually more in keeping with the regular line artist Nick Dragata. Like that's how his style looks.
If you don't read Absolute Batman, that probably looks weird to you with his cape moving around like that, but it's like legs that can walk on ceilings and stuff. His cape has like bat hands in it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the regular series is pretty awesome stuff. I read up to issue 7, but then like the Bane issues, there's some like dream sequence where Bane is like cutting off his arms and doing all this insane stuff to him. It's like
Oh, that's where Alfred is telling him what Bane will do to him. He's like, this is how the fight's going to go. You think you're going to take him out, but this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't read that book. They just flipped through it and started posting pictures on Twitter and thought like Batman was some kind of Bane Punisher character now. Like, and that's just not what it was.
I mean, yeah, the regular series is pretty insane. I like it a lot. This is actually it's the gang, they're all wearing black masks, and that was the villain from the very first story arc.
Except he didn't look anything like this. He had the black mask. The redesign is like this weird chrome helmet thing, like it's all rounded off or whatever.
But all the gang members had those masks, right?
Like the party animals, they called them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Party animals. Yep.
So these guys are party animals.
Yeah.
Basically. So these skull masks they have on, if they're party animals, Narwhal, like they disperse like weapons caches with these masks all over the city. So like poor regular people who need money can just put on these masks and grab the weapons, and like the masks have like credits to their bank account and like issues them payments for random acts of mayhem, like arson is like $500 and killing someone's like $10,000 and killing a cop is like 20,000 and a politician is like 50. You know what I'm saying? Like it incentivizes the poor to grab these masks and start committing crimes and shit.
Playing a real life version of GTA, basically.
But
Yeah.
exactly. It is. It's like GTA. It's like gamifying crime. Instead of henchmen, they just drop these things in poor neighborhoods or whatever, right? Like, like those brick pallets that randomly show up at protests and shit, right?
Right. Yeah. Signs with, still a brand logo at the bottom right. It's like, yeah. All right, guys. So I guess that's our wrap up for Batman, Absolute Batman Annual Issue 1. Normal, did you want to give a final thought on the second story?
Just that I actually did really like it, and I would want to read some more Absolute Batman, and definitely some more James Herron for sure.
Yeah, I liked it too. And Absolute Batman, the regular series is great. I think people should check it out. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. That's our review for the night, and see y'all later.
Thanks.